Okay, we'll do one more video. Actually, you know what? This I don't want to call this the USA. I want to call it the ICA from now on. The Independent Countries of America. That would be better. The 50 independent countries of America. Get rid of the US. Get rid of the states. That's a communist word, states. When you refer to countries as states, you're run by a communist government. You're run by a communist government. We need to change this to the ICA. Independent Countries of America. That's what we need to. We need to get rid of Washington D.C. We need to get rid of our U.S. communist government. Finally, we need to have another damn civil war, and this time the Confederacy needs to rise again. If we do that, we can turn this into the independent countries of America, where we can write our own damn constitutions in our own damn house and live and die by them. The way, if you want true freedom, that's the way it works. And then you control everything on your property. You patrol your own property, you police your own property, you make up your own laws on your own property. No more universal laws. That's how a communist country runs. They come up with universal laws that the whole country has to follow. There is no kind of sorta. You're either in or you're all the way out. This country is all the way in at being a communist government run country. To me, there is no middle ground anymore. There is no middle. You're either cut or dry. That's what I like about Eastern Europe. That's why I want to move there. I want to live in a cut and dry country. It's either this way or that way. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it like in this country. This country is too full of its, ands, and buts in this communist U.S. country. It's all full of is, you know. This whole country is made up of if, ands, and buts. Actually, it's if, and, can'ts, and buts, or whatever. That's what the U.S. is made up of. But, the current USA. I'm going to refer to this ICA. Independent Countries of America. That way, put a velvet rope around Washington, D.C., call it a thing of the past, ancient history, turn into a giant museum, get rid of the U.S. Communist government, may the Confederacy rise again. ICA. Independent Countries of America. We run shit in this country from now on. No weasel rat politicians. Matter of fact, man, if anybody tries to run for politics, they're going to be banished. So, no more weasel rat politicians running my life. Because they can't, they're a bunch of idiots. I don't want idiots running my life anymore. Anyway, ICA. Independent Countries of America. And then we'll come up with AIM. American Independent Militias that will protect if you want to have it. We'll come up with AIM. American Independent Militias. That's funded by the people, for the people, and totally controlled by the people. No weasel rat politicians telling anybody to fight wars for them. Politicians will be null and void. Null and void will be politicians. Politicians, lawyers, court systems, they will all be taken down. People will go back to people getting their own justice. Don't rely on the useless courts anymore because they've sucked at it. Because they just keep letting the criminals out again because it's all about money when it comes to the U.S. Communist government. See, it's the government that wants the money because the government weasel rat politicians, they can't do anything without their money because they're completely just pathetic. These weasel rat politicians, they need the money to survive because without money, they're what they are with money, weasel rats. This sniveling, beady-eyed weasel rats. Sniveling, beady-eyed, hell-spawned weasel rats. That's what politicians are. And it's time for the strong, the warriors, to start taking out the weasel rats instead of the other way around. Nowadays, the weasel rats are taking out the warriors. That's the way it's going on now. It needs to reverse back to the prehistoric days when the warriors took out the weasel rats. The warriors took out the weasel rat politician because they could, because they had the power, they had the physical power to do it. It's about time for physical power to take back this world over this mental. It's not even, first of all, these weasel rats aren't even smart. They're not smart. They're cunning. That's the only way they know how to beat anybody is to backstab them because they're too weak, physically too weak to do it on their own. Like Bill freaking Weasel Rat, scrawny ass Gates, and scrawny ass Fauci, and these scrawny ass politicians. And these scrawny little celebrities, actors, scrawny little actors on steroids, scrawny little athletes on steroids. The only reason we have big athletes because they're freaking taking HGH. They're not naturally big and strong like they were back in the Neanderthal days. Shit, Neanderthal days would have they first of all, like I said, the average Neanderthal was way bigger than the average human nowadays. Way bigger, way smarter, naturally. Okay, again, the way people are getting big now, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's a weasel rat boy on steroids. That's what you have nowadays, weasel rat boys on steroids. They're the big guys now. They're the ones getting big through man-made means, which will never top what nature can do. You know, you take an average Neanderthal, natural born built Neanderthal, they will crush the strongest man in the world currently today. They would destroy him. They would lift 4 times more weight. They would put him to shame. You brought Neanderthals, like a pure Neanderthal, they would dominate. If you brought the Neanderthals back, they're probably still out there. If you pure Neanderthals would crush us nowadays. We would need our technology to beat them because naturally, they would destroy us if we had to have a physical hand-to-hand combat fight. The Neanderthals would just they would beat us like they would tear us apart as easily as gorillas would. Neanderthals, they would tear us. They were as big and strong as gorillas, but they were as smart as humans. Like I said, I think if Bigfoot exists, they're Neanderthals. They're purebred Neanderthals. You know, that's what Bigfoot is. He's a purebred Neanderthal. So I think there were some back then that didn't have furs. I think some came without hair, and they were just like us. They were just a better made version of us. Neanderthals were a better made, stronger, smarter version of us. And then we've been declining ever since. And the only reason the Cro-Magnon men took them out is because they were meaner. They backstabbed them. And I think every progression of humans have becoming meaner, than the previous one. We've the evolution of man. You know what it is? To get more backstabbing. That's what the evolution of man has grown to be. Not smarter, more cunning, more low life, more low down. That's what the evolution of man has become. More backstabbing, more low life, more dishonest, dishonorable. That's the evolution of man, as far as I'm concerned. The evolution of man is to destroy the world through their freaking polluting the shit out of it. How about do it? Actually, I'll keep going. It's so true. It's so true. I'm writing this movie, and that's what it's going to be about. It's going to be a smash hit. I'm slowly been thinking about this because I remember, I just got into Neanderthal. I just started thinking about Neanderthals. I was going to do a movie with a Neanderthal a couple of years ago, and talking to all these people, and I'm making my movie where my Neanderthals are going to be like average humans. They're going to be all sizes, right? And all these people, oh no, they were all 5'9", 140 pounds. Although I'm like, and I started thinking about it. No way, no way. That never would have worked back then. They never would have survived as long. Even they would have been the shortest living human species on the planet if they were all little, slow, small, stupid people living amongst bigger, stronger, lot more predators, and all they had was little rock spears and knives to defend themselves. Even with bow and arrows, their bow and arrows weren't anywhere near as good as ours we have nowadays. They couldn't shoot anywhere as fast as ours can. Okay, like they go to these demonstrations, and you have modern man, you know, building bows the way they think the prehistoric people did. But no, pre- see when you watch those demonstrations, it's the modern man building those things. The only way you know how prehistoric man used to build their weapons if you were actually back there watching them. You know what I'm saying? You can't go by today what happened 100. You can't go by today anybody's version. Anybody can have their version of what happened 300,000 years ago, but nobody's version is right. It's up for debate, and I think I'm on the right track.